anybody to stop you or deter you and follow your own consciousness and heart. If you're going to fall for yourself, not for somebody else telling you what to do.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Nick. Welcome back to Nick's Dynasty, and today we have my father back again.
Peace.
So we're gonna do this reaction video to Jay-Z's new, or one of his newest music videos, The Story of OJ. Do you know any of Jay-Z's music?
No, I do not.
Okay, so this will be a real treat to see what he thinks of it. What do you listen to by chance?
Contemporary Christian.
He's actually a pastor, so this will be very interesting to see like what he thinks about.
And Donny Hathaway.
Yeah, Donny Hathaway. I think I've heard the name, but I don't really know who that is. So,
The Ghetto.
Oh, okay.
Talking about the ghetto.
I might know that song actually, but so since how long you been preaching?
32 years.
32 years. We'll see how how he'll think of this song. So it'll be interesting. So, let's start the video in 3, 2, 1, go. O.J. Simpson.
Got a great message about, you can achieve financial success. You can accomplish a whole lot of things as an African American, but you're still African American in our society.
What is being African American in the society?
You're second class citizen.
Why do you say that?
I
know it's the truth, but
the laws and the power to be and the culture stacks against you. And you got to be better than you are, than anybody else, and to achieve anything in this society.
That's definitely true for
Oh,
sure.
Sambo for like 2 million.
He said, people are like living rich, but they're dying broke. How do you think, us as a society can, get away from that?
Well, they're spending everything they're making. You have to live below your means, think about the future, and live conservatively.
Why do you think people are living above their means so much?
Trying to keep up with the Jones, trying to impress people that they don't like and don't like them.
How do you think? I think it's like so easy for people to say, "Oh, I just want to cop those Jordans real quick." Like, how do we get a message across? Say, like, that's not really doing you much good if you're just buying shoes and not really investing.
Unless you got stocks in Jordan Company or stocks, buy cheap and save the money and invest it.
Yeah, that's. How do you think people like listen and start doing that?
Well, you have to teach them and train them at an early age. You got to teach them the value of self-worth. Don't try to keep up the Jones. Don't try to follow the crowd. And you become the millionaire next door by living conservatively and buying cheap and those kinds of things.
Hard work for 1 million.
He's saying, people are keeping playing easy, but he's taking real risks to try to get big rewards. Yes, it's scary, like to invest and it might not go south. It might go south, but to get the big leagues, big bucks. I guess you gotta take a risk.
But don't invest anything you're not willing to lose. You have to save, even if you don't get any interest, you don't lose any money, but and have a portion of it set aside for your investment because you couldn't lose it all based on the stock market. And one more point about still being African American in America. Barack Obama was president, but he still was a black president. And the powers that be fought him tooth and nail during his whole 8 years, reducing him to a mediocre president. So you got to still keep, despite that, you got to do your best and keep excelling and don't stop, but that's the reality of our situation.
Nigga, dog nigga, faux nigga, real nigga, rich nigga.
The times were lynching still going on when you were little, or that was long gone?
Not necessary open lynching, but mass discrimination. I was born in Real, South Carolina, and they still call us the N-word. We couldn't, we had to go in the upstairs, the balcony of the movie theater, couldn't sit in the main lobby with everybody else. You had the colored black bus station and the white bus station, the colored fountain, drinking water, and the white drinking water. I was raised in that era.
So what do you think about things going on now? It's more low key as far as racism, where it's still there, or you feel like you are living better?
I am living better than I ever lived in my life, but the reality that I'm still African American or still black in America is a reality. I don't let that bother me. I don't worry about that. That's other people's problem, but the reality is still there. I have been fortunate to live the way I live, but a lot of people is not as fortunate as I am. And education was my way out. A bachelor degree, a master's degree, a doctorate degree, and that has been my way out. But for a lot of people who don't choose those routes, they are still in poverty.
And I know education can be really expensive. I know you said doctor's degree, but those that are getting out of high school would finding a trade or getting like a job that they really care about will help them.
Yeah, I advocate apprenticeship. Find somebody or find something you want to do, a mason, a carpentry, architecture, or whatever, and agree to apprentice with somebody and just get the skill on the job training. You can't beat on the job training. And study online to get some practical application.
that was the end of the video by Jay-Z. I know you don't know much of his music and you don't really listen to hip hop that much, but what'd you think of the song, the music video, all the above?
Jay-Z is very influential. He has built a vast financial empire period, and he have influence a whole new generation for the good. I think what he's trying to say underlines that in America, African American, whatever you achieve with billions of dollars in your portfolio, you're still African American. But you can't let that deter you from being who you are.
And it's crazy, like, if you know anything about I just learned about this recently, the racial wealth gap. The typical African American family only has 6 cents to the typical white household's dollars, 6 cents to a dollar. That's crazy. I guess, like, from generations to generations, when we weren't able to own anything, you know, they had houses, they passed it on to their children, they passed it on to their children, they had businesses, they passed it on to their children. So when we were not able to do anything or hold a thing, they had business, they had money, they had equity, they passed it on, and that money increased and increased, where, you know, not just African Americans, but those second-class citizens weren't able to pass anything on to their, you know, kids. So it's just the gap got bigger and bigger. 6 cents to a dollar is crazy. So, you know, I think hopefully our millennials and people now will, you know, start knowing that they need to invest in their children's future, invest in their future, and just better themselves. So, as you're saying, not just African Americans, but, you know, everybody
Yeah.
to not live in that world of being a second-class citizen and just, you know, be great. You know, have a goal and reach for it. So.
And don't let anybody to stop you or deter you, and follow your own consciousness and heart. If you're going to fall for yourself, not for somebody else telling you what to do.
Alright, so this was Pastor Reacts to Jay-Z's The Story of OJ. It's your boy Nick, my father right here.
Peace out.
And that's the way to say it. Peace out, y'all.